contents of the show is for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only and is not intended or viewed as trade recommendations or a substitute for professional financial advice of any kind. Please consult your own financial professional for specific advice that applies in your unique situation.
You're listening to the 12 Days of Investing, where we go over real action steps anyone can take to change their financial lives. If you're looking to learn how to get started with investing without all the hype, you've come to the right place. Stay tuned and join us on happyfinancials.com, your home for plans, strategies, and investment info online.
My name is Nick, president of Silverton Management.
My name is Steven, founder of Epik Capital Partners and president of VidaBox LLC.
And this is the second day of our 12 Days of Investing. And what we are about to talk about are the 4 cornerstones of investing. So, Steven, just to give a little segue into it, we were talking about building or wealth building, and just like any building, there needs to be a foundation.
Absolutely. So on any building, it has to have a good foundation. And what I'm going to go over today is the first cornerstone of this foundation. And this first cornerstone basically is emergency reserves.
Okay, great. So why would you have emergency reserves? What's the purpose? And also, how would you keep the reserves?
So what the emergency reserve is basically a bunch of cash that would just be sitting around so you can take care of unanticipated expenses. Like, for example, if you got sick, you got disabled, or if you happen to have investment income like real estate and the tenants aren't paying on time. Basically, this cash reserve smooths out the bumps that you encounter along on the road.
Now, why do you say that the cash is just sitting around? Does that mean that it's not working for you or it's currently not deployed?
Well, the cash, you are right. It's really not in a state where it would be able to give you good returns. The reason why is that it's something that you may need to be able to deploy or, spend and cover your living expenses, etc., on an immediate moment's notice and such. But there are countermeasures to that so that you would be able to get better returns. For example, you could be looking at, small local credit unions for better deals. You could search for reward checking accounts. Like, for example, Nick, do you have your own emergency reserve fund?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. Where's your emergency reserve funds now?
It is currently sitting in Bethpage Federal Credit Union.
All right. Well, that's awesome. Last I checked, they actually were giving about a 1% return, but there are other ones like Consumer Credit Union. Another one is North Point Bank. They actually offer up to 5% interest on a FDIC, or in their case, since they're a credit union, an NCUA insured checking account.
Wow, I think I'm going to be switching credit unions then.
Well, yeah, it's always a good idea to keep your eyes on the lookout and stuff. The challenge is, though, is that depending on the bank or credit union, they do require you to spend an amount per month specifically, or have a certain amount of monthly debits using the debit card that they provide. So there is a little bit of work involved. But ultimately, I think that anybody that's starting out must absolutely have an emergency reserve fund just to cover, unanticipated stuff that comes along the way. And, I think it's a very good starting point.
I know many people, including myself, would not mind trading a couple of extra debits and credits flowing through an account for 4% on our money.
Yep. Well, it all depends on your time, and the honest truth is, let's just say now if you do have a smaller amount that's saved up, obviously, 4% of a small amount doesn't really make sense. Whereas then if you do have a much larger amount, then it does make sense. So, and ultimately it all depends on up to you. But just to get started, I think it's very important. So the first action step, I think, for anyone is to start researching and start saving towards an emergency reserve.
Okay, great. And my name is Nick.
I'm Steven.
And we are going on to the third day, and we are going to talk about life insurance. Thanks for listening.
This podcast is sponsored by Epik Capital Partners, happyfinancials.com, and Silverton Management. Thanks for listening.